A quiet profile, few or no selfies, no constant updates, no carefully planned photos asking for attention. In today's world, many people see that as unusual. Some quickly assume that a woman who rarely posts her pictures must be insecure. Others believe she lacks confidence, has something to hide, or simply doesn't enjoy life enough to share it. These assumptions spread so easily that they are rarely questioned. Yet the truth is often far more interesting. Sometimes the absence of photos is not a sign of fear. It is a sign of choice, a conscious decision made by someone who values certain things more than public attention. And when that woman is deeply empathetic, the reasons can become even more fascinating. Her silence online may reveal more about her personality than hundreds of perfectly edited pictures ever could. What looks ordinary on the surface may actually reflect a unique way of thinking, feeling, and protecting her emotional world. The less she reveals, the more questions people begin to ask. But those questions are often answered in completely unexpected ways. Modern social media has quietly created an unwritten rule. It suggests that visibility equals confidence. The more people see you, the more successful, attractive, and socially connected you appear. Photos become proof that life is exciting. They become evidence that someone is happy, loved, and important. Yet psychology continues to show that human behavior is rarely this simple. People are driven by different motivations. Some enjoy expressing themselves publicly because it brings them genuine happiness. Others prefer to keep meaningful moments private because privacy itself gives them peace. Neither choice automatically says anything about a person's worth, confidence, or emotional health. The real story lies beneath the action itself. Why does one person happily share every celebration while another quietly keeps the same memories within a small circle of trusted people? Why does one person feel energized by attention while another feels emotionally drained by it? These questions open the door to a much deeper understanding of personality, empathy, and the invisible ways people protect their inner lives. This video is not about criticizing women who enjoy posting photos. There is absolutely nothing wrong with sharing your life online if that feels natural to you. Many people create beautiful memories, connect with loved ones, and express their creativity through social media. That choice deserves respect. At the same time, choosing not to post photos deserves the same respect. Unfortunately, that second choice is often misunderstood. Society tends to explain silence with negative assumptions instead of curiosity. Quietness is mistaken for insecurity. Privacy is mistaken for secrecy. Simplicity is mistaken for loneliness. Yet many people intentionally choose a quieter digital life because it matches their values, not because they are afraid of being seen. This video explores one particular group often described in popular psychology as female empaths. While the word empath is widely used, it is important to understand that it is not an official psychological diagnosis. Psychologists do not classify empath as a separate personality type or mental condition. However, the characteristics commonly associated with empaths, such as high emotional sensitivity, strong empathy, deep compassion, awareness of other people's emotions, and a greater need for emotional boundaries, have all been studied extensively through psychological research. Those studies provide valuable clues about why some highly empathetic women naturally choose privacy over constant visibility. One of the most surprising findings in modern psychology is that people who are emotionally aware often become equally aware of the emotional cost attached to attention. Every photo placed online invites reactions. Some reactions are kind, others are careless. Some people leave compliments. Others judge appearances, clothing, age, weight, or personal choices without hesitation. Even positive attention creates expectations. It encourages people to continue performing for an audience that constantly wants something new. For someone who easily notices emotional signals, every reaction carries weight. Every comment becomes another emotional experience to process. Every opinion adds another layer to an already busy inner world. While some individuals brush these experiences aside within seconds, highly empathetic people may reflect on them much longer. They naturally think about how others feel. They notice small emotional changes that many people completely overlook. Because of this heightened awareness, privacy often becomes less about hiding and more about protecting mental clarity. It becomes a way of reducing unnecessary emotional noise. Researchers studying online behavior have also discovered another interesting pattern. Women, on average, report stronger concerns about digital privacy than men. They are generally more careful about controlling who can see their personal information and photographs. This does not mean every woman avoids posting pictures. It simply shows that privacy holds greater importance for many women than people often realize. Safety, emotional comfort, personal boundaries, and control over one's own identity all influence these decisions. For highly empathetic women, these concerns may become even stronger because they naturally pay closer attention to emotional consequences before making choices. A single photo does not remain a simple image. It becomes something that strangers can interpret, judge, save, share, or discuss. That awareness changes how they approach social media. Instead of asking, "Will people like this picture?" they may quietly ask themselves, "Do I really want this part of my life to belong to the internet?" That single question can completely transform their behavior. Throughout this video, we are going to uncover psychological patterns that many people rarely discuss. You will discover why emotional boundaries often become more valuable than public attention. You will learn why privacy can sometimes reflect confidence instead of insecurity. We will explore how highly empathetic women often define identity differently from what social media encourages. You will understand why external validation loses its power when inner security grows stronger. We will also examine the hidden emotional cost of constant comparison, the surprising relationship between authenticity and digital silence, and why choosing a quieter online presence can actually create a stronger sense of personal freedom. Along the way, we will separate popular myths from psychological evidence, revealing facts that challenge many common assumptions. Some of these ideas may completely change the way you view people who rarely appear online. Others may help you better understand your own relationship with social media, attention, and emotional well-being. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that every visible behavior has an obvious explanation. Human psychology rarely works that way. Two people can make the exact same decision for entirely different reasons. One woman may avoid posting photos because she struggles with self-esteem. Another may avoid them because she feels perfectly secure without public approval. One may dislike attention because it creates anxiety. Another may simply prefer spending her emotional energy on real conversations instead of digital interactions. The behavior looks identical. The motivation is completely different. That is why psychology encourages us to look beneath the surface instead of accepting quick judgments. The invisible reasons behind our choices often reveal far more than the choices themselves. And when empathy becomes part of that picture, the story grows even deeper than most people expect. By the end of this video, you may never look at a quiet social media profile in the same way again. The woman who rarely shares her face may not be hiding from the world at all. She may simply be protecting the parts of herself that matter most. She may value peace more than popularity, authenticity more than appearance, and meaningful relationships more than online recognition. These are qualities that algorithms cannot measure, but psychology helps us understand. Some of the insights ahead are supported by scientific research. Others are based on well-known psychological theories about empathy, identity, boundaries, and self-presentation. Together, they reveal a perspective that is rarely discussed but deeply relevant in today's digital world. So stay with us until the very end, because the final reason may be the one that explains everything else and could completely change how you interpret silence in the age of endless sharing. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy thoughtful videos that uncover the hidden psychology behind everyday human behavior, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community. Now, let's begin exploring the fascinating psychology of female empaths who don't post their photos. One of the first things many highly empathetic women protect is not their appearance, but their emotional space. They notice feelings quickly, sense tension easily, and absorb the mood around them. Because of that, they become careful about adding more emotional noise to their lives. Social media can feel very different from real life. A single photo may seem harmless, but once it is posted, it invites comments, comparisons, and judgments. For someone who is emotionally sensitive, that can become exhausting. She may prefer peace over attention and privacy over endless opinions. Not everyone experiences attention the same way. Some people enjoy sharing, but others feel pressure once they are seen. They may feel expected to post more, look perfect, or maintain an image. Many highly empathetic women notice that pressure early and choose not to enter that cycle. Their peace matters more than temporary approval. Privacy also creates emotional safety. It helps reduce the weight of other people's opinions. A careless comment can linger, and even praise can create pressure. By keeping parts of life private, they protect themselves from unnecessary emotional strain. This choice is often misunderstood. Others may think they lack confidence, but confidence does not always need to be loud. A woman can feel secure without announcing every moment of her life. She does not need strangers to confirm that her experiences matter. Another reason is emotional recovery. Highly empathetic people often need quiet after dealing with strong emotions. Social media can make that harder by adding more comparison and stimulation. Choosing not to post personal photos helps them protect the calm they need. There is also the issue of identity. Photos often lead people to judge appearance first. Highly empathetic women usually want to be remembered for their kindness, ideas, and character, not just how they look. They value what cannot be captured in a picture. Research shows that photo sharing often encourages comparison, especially among women. People compare faces, bodies, lifestyles, and relationships, often without realizing it. Many empathetic women see how damaging that can be and choose not to add to it. This does not mean they dislike looking nice or ignore their appearance. It simply means their confidence comes more from how they feel than from how many people notice them. A beautiful moment can still be meaningful even if it is never posted. Many people mistake this for shyness, but it is often a conscious choice. These women may be confident, caring, and socially strong while still keeping their personal life private. They understand that character grows in private long before it is seen in public. Choosing privacy does not mean someone lacks confidence. In many cases, it shows a deeper kind of confidence that does not depend on outside approval. That quiet inner security is what makes them comfortable staying unseen online. As we reach the end of this journey, one truth becomes clear. The way someone uses social media can never tell you the full story of who they are. A woman who rarely posts her photos is not automatically mysterious. She is not automatically more intelligent, more spiritual, or emotionally healthier than anyone else. In the same way, a woman who enjoys sharing her life online is not shallow, attention-seeking, or less authentic. Human behavior is far more complex than the internet often makes it seem. Every person has different values, different experiences, and different reasons for the choices they make. But for many highly empathetic women, choosing privacy is not about hiding from the world. It is about protecting the parts of themselves that matter most. They understand that not every beautiful moment needs an audience, not every achievement needs applause. Not every emotion needs to become public content. They find comfort in keeping certain memories close to the heart instead of placing them on a screen. They know that peace can be more satisfying than attention, and that genuine happiness often grows quietly, away from constant observation. In a world where people are encouraged to document everything, choosing not to share can become an act of intention. It allows them to focus on living the moment instead of proving the moment happened. It reminds us that a meaningful life is not measured by likes, comments, or followers. It is measured by the quality of our relationships, the strength of our character, and the peace we carry within ourselves. Perhaps the greatest lesson is this: real confidence does not always announce itself. It does not always ask to be noticed. Sometimes confidence is simply the ability to be comfortable without constant recognition. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who no longer feel the need to convince the world of their value. They let their actions speak louder than their profile. They let their kindness leave a deeper impression than any photograph ever could. So the next time you come across someone whose online presence is quiet, resist the urge to make quick assumptions. There may be an entire world of wisdom, compassion, strength, and emotional depth behind that silence. Some of the most remarkable people are not the ones who appear on your screen every day. They are the ones who quietly make others feel understood, respected, and safe whenever they are present. The strongest presence isn't always the one everyone sees. Sometimes it's the one people remember long after the screen goes dark. If this video helped you see quiet people from a completely different perspective, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking videos about psychology, human behavior, and the hidden patterns that shape our lives. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and share it with someone who believes that authenticity will always matter more than attention. You never know who might need this reminder today. Thank you for watching, and until our next video, remember this: the people who reveal the least online are not always hiding. Quite often they are simply busy living a life that doesn't need constant approval to be meaningful. Once the mask begins to fall, the next stage is questioning. This is one of the most frightening parts of the dark night of the soul, because it does not only question small things, it questions the whole structure of life. The person starts looking at beliefs they once defended and wonders if those beliefs were truly alive or only inherited. They look at dreams they chased for years and wonder if those dreams were built from purpose or pressure. They look at relationships they protected and wonder if loyalty has quietly become self-harm. They look at their own identity and feel a distance from the person they used to be. This can feel terrifying because the mind loves certainty. Even painful certainty can feel safer than open truth. A person may stay in a life that hurts because at least it is familiar, but the dark night removes blind certainty. It does not allow the person to keep pretending that familiar means right. This is why it can feel like losing direction. The old map no longer works. The old answers no longer calm the heart. The old advice sounds empty. Even the things that once gave meaning may suddenly feel silent. This is not always because those things were wrong. Sometimes it is because the person's understanding is being forced to grow deeper. A belief that once lived on the surface must now be tested in the inner world. A dream that once came from ego must either become pure or fall away. A relationship that once survived on need must either become honest or end. A goal that once gave identity must now prove whether it has real soul behind it. The person is not just losing happiness, they are losing the meaning system that held their life together. That is why this stage can feel like inner ground disappearing. But questioning is not always destruction. Sometimes it is purification. Sometimes the mind must become unsure before the heart can become honest. Sometimes old certainty must collapse so deeper wisdom can enter. The dark night does not remove every answer because life is cruel. It removes weak answers because the person is ready for something more real. It teaches them that certainty without truth is another kind of prison, and slowly through all the confusion they become someone who is no longer satisfied with borrowed beliefs, borrowed dreams, or borrowed identity. They begin to search for what is real, even if it costs them the comfort of what was familiar. After the questioning begins, the person often reaches for rescue. This is natural. When the inner world feels unstable, the mind looks for something outside to hold on to. It may look for people, attention, advice, work, scrolling, food, romance, achievement, spiritual practices, or any distraction that can make the pain quieter for a moment. But one of the harsh lessons of the dark night is that many of the things that once worked no longer work. Distractions become weaker. Validation feels temporary. Compliments do not reach the deeper wound. Advice sounds too simple. Old habits lose their numbing power. The person may still try to run, but the running becomes exhausting. They may still try to attach themselves to someone else's presence, but even that presence cannot fully remove the emptiness inside. This is when the dark night reveals a difficult truth. No one can fully save you from yourself. People can support you. People can love you. People can sit beside you, but no one can enter the deepest room of your soul and do the work for you. This realization can feel lonely at first. It can feel unfair. The person may want someone to arrive with the perfect words, the perfect love, the perfect answer, the perfect sign. But the dark night often stays silent because its purpose is not to make the person dependent on another outside source. Its purpose is to bring the person back to themselves. This is where healing becomes less dramatic but more real. Healing is not always a sudden rescue. Sometimes healing is sitting with the pain without escaping into old patterns. It is breathing through the emptiness without filling it with people who cannot truly love you. It is letting the silence show you what your noise was hiding. It is learning to stay with yourself when nothing outside you feels certain. This does not mean the person becomes isolated or rejects help. It means they stop making other people responsible for saving a self they have abandoned. They begin to understand that external comfort is helpful, but inner presence is necessary, and slowly they stop chasing rescue. They stop looking for someone to complete the part of them that needs to be met by their own honesty. The dark night turns them inward, not as punishment, but as return. It brings them to the place they avoided for years. And in that place, they learn that the person they were waiting for may have been the self they kept leaving behind. When a person has passed through deep inner loss, they do not see the world the same way. Pain changes their eyes, not in a bitter way if they allow the pain to teach them well. It gives them discernment. Before the dark night, they may have believed beautiful words too quickly. They may have trusted charm. They may have accepted apologies without changed behavior. They may have mistaken intensity for love, attention for care, and closeness for safety. They may have ignored the quiet warnings in their body because they wanted the story to be true. But after the dark night, the person becomes harder to fool, not because they become cold, but because they become awake. They start noticing patterns. They listen less to promises and more to consistency. They stop being impressed by people who know how to speak deeply but do not live deeply. They can sense forced relationships. They can feel when connection is built on need rather than truth. They can tell when confidence is only a cover for insecurity. They can recognize comfort that keeps them asleep instead of helping them grow. This is one of the hidden gifts of the dark night. It sharpens the inner sense. It teaches the person that not everything soft is safe. Not everything familiar is healthy. Not every open door is meant to be entered. Not every person who wants access deserves intimacy. The person becomes calmer but sharper. They may speak less, but they observe more. They may forgive, but they no longer forget patterns. They may love deeply, but they no longer abandon themselves to prove it. Discernment is not paranoia. It is the ability to see clearly without needing to hate what you see. The dark night teaches this because it exposes how much suffering came from ignoring truth. The person remembers the cost of staying too long. They remember the cost of explaining away disrespect. They remember the cost of choosing fantasy over reality. So now when life presents them with a beautiful illusion, they pause. They watch, they wait, they let time reveal what words cannot. This does not make their life smaller. It makes their life cleaner. They begin to protect their energy without guilt. They begin to choose people whose actions feel peaceful, not people whose words feel exciting. And this is a powerful transformation. The person who once begged for signs now becomes the person who trusts the quiet knowing within them. The dark night also changes desire. This change can confuse people around them because the person may no longer want the same things. Before this season, attention may have felt important. Being chosen may have felt like proof of worth. Success may have felt like safety. Approval may have felt like love. Status may have felt like identity. A person may have chased recognition without knowing they were really chasing permission to feel enough. They may have wanted a loud life because silence made them face themselves. They may have wanted constant movement because stillness revealed pain. But after the dark night strips them down, their desires become quieter. Peace starts to feel more valuable than applause. A calm room feels better than a crowded room full of empty connection. A small, honest life feels better than a big life built on performance. Silence becomes less frightening. Simplicity becomes powerful. The person begins to understand that not every exciting thing is good for the soul. Some excitement is only anxiety in attractive clothing. Some attention is only noise. Some success is only a decorated cage. The dark night teaches this by showing the person what it feels like to lose inner stability. Once they know that kind of loss, they become careful about what they allow to disturb them. They stop giving unlimited access to people who bring confusion. They stop chasing conversations that leave them empty. They stop proving themselves to those who are committed to misunderstanding them. They stop measuring their value by how visible they are. This is not because they no longer care about life. It is because they now care about the right things. They still may want love, purpose, achievement, and connection, but they no longer want these things at the cost of their inner home. They begin to ask different questions. Does this bring peace or pressure? Does this relationship make me more honest or more afraid? Does this dream come from purpose or from the need to be seen? Does this path help me become real or only admired? These questions change everything. The person may become more private, more selective, more grounded, more difficult to impress. And there is power in that. The dark night turns them into someone who no longer needs the world to clap before they can feel alive. They begin to value the quiet strength of being at peace with themselves. One of the most beautiful and misunderstood transformations of the dark night is that it can make a person softer and stronger at the same time. Many people think pain either hardens the heart or destroys it, but deep inner transformation can create another path. It can make the person more compassionate without making them weak. It can make them more loving without making them available for mistreatment. It can make them more open without making them careless. The dark night does not have to turn someone cold. It can turn them real. After a person has sat with their own suffering, they often recognize suffering in others more quickly. They understand the quiet signs. They know what it means to smile while carrying heaviness. They know what it means to lose meaning and still get through the day. They know what it means to feel unseen. Because of this, their compassion becomes deeper. It is no longer shallow kindness that only appears when life is easy. It becomes a grounded kindness that understands pain without needing to fix everyone. But at the same time, the person develops boundaries. This is the part that makes them different. Before the dark night, they may have confused love with self-sacrifice. They may have believed being good meant being endlessly available. They may have stayed in places that harmed them because they did not want to seem selfish. But after the dark night, they understand what self-abandonment costs. They know that losing yourself for others does not create true love. It creates resentment, emptiness, and spiritual exhaustion. So their kindness becomes wiser. They can care without carrying what is not theirs. They can listen without absorbing every wound. They can forgive without reopening the door. They can love someone and still choose distance. This is not weakness, this is maturity. The dark night teaches them that a soft heart still needs a strong gate. It teaches them that compassion without boundaries becomes a slow form of self-harm. It teaches them that being deeply feeling does not mean being easily controlled. So the person becomes more balanced. They may cry more honestly, but they recover with more truth. They may feel more deeply, but they no longer collapse for every person who refuses to meet them with respect. They become steady in a way that does not need to look hard. Their strength becomes quiet. Their love becomes clean. Their presence becomes less desperate and more rooted. They are still human, they still feel pain, but they no longer break in the same places, because those places have already been faced, understood, and rebuilt with truth. The final transformation is not perfection, it is truth. This matters because many people misunderstand what awakening or deep healing is supposed to look like. They think the dark night turns a person into someone who never feels fear, never struggles, never doubts, and never gets hurt again. But that is not real transformation. That is another fantasy. The dark night does not remove your humanity. It removes the illusions that kept your humanity trapped. It does not turn you into a magical person who floats above pain. It turns you into someone more honest inside pain. Someone more grounded inside uncertainty. Someone less controlled by the old need to be approved, chosen, praised, or understood by everyone. The person who comes out of this season may still have wounds, they may still feel grief, they may still have moments when the past rises again. But they are no longer the same person who believed every fear. They are no longer the same person who worshipped every attachment. They are no longer the same person who confused chaos with passion or emptiness with love. They begin to live from a deeper center. This is authenticity. It is not being loud about who you are. It is being unable to keep living as who you are not. It is the quiet refusal to betray your soul for acceptance. It is the ability to say no without explaining your entire heart. It is the courage to let old identities die without rushing to replace them with another mask. It is choosing a life that matches your inner truth even if it looks smaller to other people. The dark night often takes away the things a person used to use as proof of identity. It may take away old confidence, old desires, old relationships, old dreams, or old certainty. But what remains begins to feel more real. The person starts noticing what actually matters to them. They start hearing their own inner voice again. They start recognizing the difference between fear and intuition. They start choosing peace over performance, depth over image, truth over comfort. This does not happen all at once. It happens slowly. It happens through days when they still feel unsure but choose honesty anyway. It happens through moments when they want to return to the old life but know it no longer fits. It happens when they stop asking, "How do I become someone impressive?" and start asking, "How do I become someone true?" That question changes the direction of everything. The dark night does not turn them into someone new in the shallow sense. It turns them into someone more deeply themselves. It strips away what was borrowed, forced, feared, and performed. And what begins to rise is not perfect, but it is real. The dark night of the soul is not there to destroy the real you. It only feels that way because it touches everything you once used to feel safe. It touches the mask. It touches the fear. It touches the old identity that was built from pain, approval, control, and survival. But beneath all of that, there is a part of you that was never meant to live in hiding. That is the part this darkness is trying to reveal. The version of you that breaks during this season is not the version that was truly free. It was the version that learned how to perform, how to please, how to stay small, how to accept less, and how to call that peace. The dark night removes what was built from fear, so something more honest can finally breathe. It may make you quieter, it may make you more selective, it may make you walk away from things you once begged to keep, but that does not mean you are losing yourself. It means you are losing the parts of yourself that were never fully yours. And when the old noise fades, when the false self can no longer lead, when the need to prove finally becomes too heavy to carry, a deeper truth begins to rise. So if this video gave you clarity, like it, share it with someone who is going through a difficult inner season, and subscribe to the channel for more calm and honest videos about healing, self-awareness, and transformation. Because the dark night of the soul does not turn you into someone new. It turns you into someone true.